Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1972 Winter Baseball Classic, the WBC tournament. This is a little baseball tournament I play before the draft. I think of it as spring training with a format, teams playing each other. There are 16 teams in the Winter Baseball Classic. We're putting them together. These 16 teams don't play in traditional Major League Baseball cities. They're fictional team names in actual places in the US and Canada that we just decided to plop teams in. And I guess my thinking was this kind of unrealistic idea that spring training could be all over North America in that regard, or at least in 16 different spots, and perhaps the players simply want to report to the closest team instead of actually going to Arizona or Florida, perhaps. I mean, that's a thought in it anyway. So yeah, it's not traditional in that regard, but it's kind of a fun little tournament, and the purpose of this tournament is to scout out players. The entire tournament is all players from the year of 72. If you follow the league, you know that we have 640 players in every year of our timeline, all the way from 1969 to 1984. We do individual season drafts to get to 600, to distribute the 640 players over to 32 Major League Baseball towns. And to get to that number, we have to sometimes add cards by getting stats from Baseball Reference is what I usually do, and we just handwrite a card in for those guys. Those cards generally are not played, or we try not to play those cards in this tournament because there's no statistical relevance of those cards that you're using to substitute, as Strat-O-Matic didn't print those. So for instance, for 640 1972 players, you have a bunch of handwritten guys, and these are the names of the guys where Strat-O-Matic didn't print their cards because of a lack of statistics over a period of time. But I generated a card for players, and I generated cards for this row here, this purplish color here. This is like all the fictional cards I created, and it's a record for every one of those. So I wrote in 66. So for instance, let's see if I can give you some math here. If we have 640 and I took away 66, that means I used 574 of the Strat-O-Matic cards. Now, oftentimes, it would be 576 Strat-O-Matic cards because there's 24 teams times 20 plus 4, 20-man rosters plus 4 extra players. It's usually 576, so maybe I shaved it by a few. But in any event, 66 guys were handwritten, but then disqualified for participating in the league because I just don't want to use handwritten cards. You also have cards from this year, 1972, that are presently playing in the carryover league. And there's a chunk of these guys here. And my intention is I don't want to pull those cards out of the carryover league that we play in the summer. They can just sit there. But I do have to account for them because they're part of the 640. And it's this green section of players here. And so now we're up to 137 players, that are disqualified for playing in this tournament. Okay. Now the next little group in this light green represent cards of a player who is in the carryover league, but he's probably in the carryover league in the years of 1973 or 1974. That means the 72 card is here. So he could play in the league, though in my thinking is that I don't really need to see this guy audition for a role in the league because he's already in the league, and it's just his performance with lesser statistical performance. Just picking up guys I'm seeing randomly here. George Orta, for instance, we have his 74 card in the league where he's hitting 300. In 72, George hit 202. I don't really need to see that card or use it or play it. They are available though, because we do need to fix rosters. We have to have enough players to play in the league. So here's a chunk of more guys, And we're up to now 176 guys who either have been disqualified or I probably don't want to see these guys play in the tournament. Okay, next group of guys here, and these are guys that I would like to see. These are guys who made a keeper list for a team, but we have a team that wants to keep the player. Arizona wants to keep Steve Braun in this case. You know, Atlanta wants to keep Walt Williams, Earl Williams to the Orioles. So they're certainly draft eligible, and we'd like to see these guys play in the league. We also have just this little tiny group of retired players. They were retired in the off-season carousel leading up to the draft, mostly because A, they didn't play baseball anymore, or B, they played poorly, and Strat-O-Matic still made their card. It's just a group of 3 guys: Clendenon, Gates Brown, Mel Queen. They are draft eligible because Strat-O-Matic played their cards, created their cards, and you could come out of retirement if you get a call because, say the Major League Baseball draft I do in March, we're running out of the guys and we need Clendenon. We call him out of retirement and say, we got a spot for you at first base somewhere. Then you also have guys who were put on the waiver wire. We really want to get our eyeballs on these guys because they could play anywhere. The keepers, we know they'll be drafted by that team unless they are left off of their draft. Waivered wires, all traditional Major League teams want to take a peek at these waivered guys as possible draft picks. Then we have a nice chunk of players here. You see this a colorless white here. These are guys, frankly, who have never been taken from their 1972 box. For the last, this is the 4th and final year of using this 1972 box, and these guys have just not been in the league yet, and it's based on performance. But this is where we want to see these guys. This is their last chance to actually play in a baseball game. The cards have been sitting in a box for 4 years. We haven't got a chance to use them. Maybe if we use these guys and they do well in a small role, that'll put them on the radar to get drafted. And then after that, as we get to the 640, I want to show you that we actually have guys who are in the league in the Winter Baseball Classic of 1971 a year ago. And so those same guys would want to come back and play for that particular team in the year of 1972. So in this group here, looking in column A, you see ATH is the symbol for Athens. That's Athens, Georgia. They have one of the 16 baseball teams. And so these players are associated with Athens. So let me explain how this association works. The guys in this dark green all played for Athens a year ago. Abernathy, Matty Alou, Rico Cardi, Mike Cuellar, Tom Hall, Matlack. And you can actually see by looking at these player names the higher quality of player versus some of the guys I mentioned previously. These are, you know, sometimes on a Hall of Famer and All-Star. They played a year ago. However, that was with their 71 card. Their 72 card is in the carryover league, so it's probably one of their best years. So, and again, we're not going to use these cards. We're not going to pull them out. So, what we're going to have to do is, we're going to have to find a replacement for these guys. So, what we're saying is, let's say Mike Cuellar. Mike Cuellar is a left-handed starting pitcher. Okay? Whoever replaces him, we'd like it to be a left-handed starting pitcher. So we're looking for replacements for how they fit into this roster. These green guys also potentially could be replaced, though if we need their talent, we could use them. Willie Crawford, Raleigh Fingers, Lenny Randall. We have all 3 of these players. Crawford's 73 cards in the league, Fingers 73, I think Lenny Randall's 74. Those are their player cards that are presently in the league. So I don't need to evaluate them, but if I just need somebody to fill out a roster, I could use them. These are the guys from a year ago who played for Athens that we want to employ again, because they're going to be very important in the draft. Tommy A.G. is going to come back for Toronto. Glenn Becker's going to return to the Cubs. Al Kalin's going to return to the Tigers. Kranepool got traded from the Mets to Toronto in the offseason. Tub McGraw's going to run it back for the Mets again, and Rick Wise is going to run it back for Boston. So you want to see these guys play in the league to see, are we going to take the 1972 card when it comes draft time, or 73, or 74, or 75? We want to get our eyeballs by having these guys compete in the league. And then you have, again, guys on the retired list, but let's take a look at them, see if they're useful. And, of course, waivered players. When you look at this list, I want to come over here now to draft results for a moment. Because we haven't completed the draft. We've moved some players around. And I just kind of want to go down to the team of Athens right now. And what we're looking at here is the 20 roster spots for the Athens club. And I want to go over here. This is a column we put the defense in, the E ratings in. But also in this column, and also vacated in these columns, column here and here. If it says 71, it means that player was in the league a year ago. We don't have a replacement yet for him. So Bobby Wine, 1971 card was used, but he doesn't play baseball in 72. Tony Cloninger in 71, he's not available, nor is Mo Drabowski. The other players have been swapped in, so they can be part of the assembly. But we still have to do more replacements. See Manny Sanguillen here. So he'd be invited back to play, but like I said, Manny Sanguillen in the dark green is in the carryover league. And I don't want to pull that card out, even though it's really good. He's a 322 hitter. Of course, he's in the carryover league. Milt Pappas, 72 card. Great card. Ted Abernathy, he's got a great card as a reliever. I got to replace him. I can't let those cards, move from the carryover league into this Winter Baseball Classic. So that's the fun part of the draft. And presently, I've done the inventory. It might be easier to look this way. So there's 20 players, 20 slots, would be a nice way to say it, per team. And if you see, as you scroll down, if you see a dark green shade, it means these guys need to be replaced. If you see the number 71 here, they need to be replaced with a 72 player. So each of the franchises in the Winter Baseball Classic has a different status. Look at Coney Island. They're almost bringing 19 of 20 guys ready to play ball. They just got to replace Pete Reichert. Reichert is in the, like I said, dark green card, means he's in the carryover league. I got to find a left-handed reliever out of the available players of lesser quality than Pete Reichert in this instance to complete that roster. And then some teams, now this team is in really big trouble. And that's just some years, that's how it goes. And it's the team HAX. That's the team code for Halifax, Nova Scotia. They have a team in the Winter Baseball Classic. But Halifax is blessed with talent, too much talent, because it's all unavailable to them. Jesus Alou, Mike Epstein, Carlton Fisk, Richie Hebner, Heiss, Thompson, Billy Williams, big 72 season. You're not going to be able to use that card. It's already in use in the Summer League. Bonson, Holtzman, Eddie Watt. So that means that we have to, sadly, replace 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Half of their players with free agents. By prediction, I would say the Halifax team is not going to be very good. You're just not going to find guys to replace all-stars in that level. And that's what kind of makes this Winter Baseball Classic so unique. It's all over the place as far as talent level goes. If I keep paging down, HOH team only has to replace 2. This team here only has 4. And then you're also counting these 71s. Sometimes, like in the case of this team, MEB, all the 71 guys are gone. So all you have to do is replace Johnny Bench, Phil Negro, Wayne Granger, and Doyle Alexander. So just get a catcher for a bench, get a pitcher for Necro, get a reliever for Wayne Granger, and a swing starter for Joe Alexander, and then start playing baseball. So that's kind of the fun part of the winter baseball. And at this point, I still have more drafting to go. I'm not going to do it now and take up your time. I'll come back with a wrap to look at teams. I just kind of wanted to give you an illustration of the assembly. It's 16 teams. It's 320 players. If I keep scrolling down here, when you get to the last team, VIP, you see it ends at 320. So when you think about it, if there were 640 cards used in 72 in some way, shape, I'm only wanting to put a little tournament together of 320, half of that, with the noted exclusions. So that's kind of a look at that portion. What I can do here is then get to the game player is pretty familiar to what you've seen before, except where we used to have the traditional Major League Baseball teams, we have a new logo set. Here's a print of my logo set. So, you know, traditionally, the 32 logos would be used. But in the tournament, I've got 16 new logos for these 16 cities, and I got like a little picture of the town in some sort of familiarity, just to kind of have some fun with it. So the game player itself, the coloring of banners represents the team who won it last year. It's pretty similar to what you've seen before. Again, the stat accumulator is going to be the same. One of the big change, though, of course, is the schedule. So this is last year's schedule, and it's a double elimination tournament. You've got 4 regions that the 16 teams play in. You've got the green used to be the northeast portion of the U.S., Rhode Island, Coney Island, New York, Halifax, Nova Scotia. I had to add Vancouver from the far west into this division. So it's Vancouver Island in the city of Victoria across of Port Angeles. Anyway, they call it itself the Island Division. These guys are all close together. Sunbelt, you got St. Petersburg, Savannah, Athens, Charleston, South Carolina, all in the south. This would be kind of very similar to your, my spring training baseball in a warmer climate kind of scenario. Then we have a little further towards the Mississippi River, Memphis, New Orleans, Mississippi. We threw Tucson in there because we needed a 4th team. And out west, you got all these teams bordering the Pacific here mostly. You got Hollywood, Seattle, Tacoma, Missoula, Montana, not quite on the coast, and Chula Vista down near San Diego. So those are the 16 places that the teams play. All fictional, just places I've been to and had enjoyed vacations and so forth through these places, and I decided I wanted to, use these towns as placeholders for baseball games. So what happens is, based on previous tournament finishes, we have the 4 seeds and the 1 seeds playing, and the 3 versus 2. The seeds play each other 4-1, 3-2. You have a best of 7, so after your best of 7s, you have a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket. They play a best of 5. The loser's brackets are done. Then you're left with 12 teams. 4 of the 12, the teams who won the best of 7 and the best of 5, get byes. The remaining 8 are seeded by record. And then record is factored into the next round of best of 3 till another 8 teams are eliminated. And then by the time you get to the end, your final 4 play what is like a league championship series and a World Series. It's a 7-game format there. It's a 5-game format and then a 7-game format. And that little tournament is what I play just to kind of have some fun with these cards. This tournament takes maybe 2 or 3 weeks to play. And then when this tournament's over, then the cards get returned back to drafting purposes, and then I can start the traditional Major League Baseball draft, which happens in March for the 1972 to 75 carryover league, which you'll watch from April through October. So that is a look at that, and pitching rotations are stored here. I actually have lifetime tournament results here. So I've been doing this since 2006, this little winter baseball tournaments. You know, just like all of you who play Strat, you get a little antsy when the weather gets cold, you're waiting for spring training, you want to get a little baseball done, maybe nothing not too serious, you know. And so I've been doing this from 2006 to last year. So I've got lifetime records, I got years, individual years, teams won championships. In all that time, it's been 2,200 games, which really, over a period of 17 years, is not a lot of games. You get about 130 games a year, roughly. And it's just, you know, I keep track of that through that. And I think that's about it I can do for this installment. And when we get again, I will give you tournament results, draft results, you know, the replacing, like I said, of all the green guys who are gone. So rosters will be assembled by the next time we do a Winter Baseball Classic video, and we'll start playing some games. We'll start playing deciding games, because again, it's a tournament. Everything's elimination. So we'll start playing some tournament games, and that'll take us up to the draft for the 1972-75 Carryover League. So thanks for checking out this introduction to the Winter Baseball Classic of 1972. I hope you enjoy this interesting, creative format. It's a, you know, trying to do something different from Major League Baseball. And something that is very useful in helping me assemble a competitive carryover league that will be carrying forward throughout the summer and early fall. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.